What does align with this channel though is the whole Chris Eubank Sr situation with his event. Look. We're just going to react to Chris Eubank Sr.'s reaction to his son fight against Conor Benn. The entrance was amazing. Why is it giving me Chris Eubank Sr. Junior situation? I want. There you go. Benn vs Eubank Jr. Legendary status achieved. Let's go. I'm gonna try not to pause as often because I'm looking at the time, and yeah, let's go.
EasyJet's Big Orange Sale is now on. Get up to £200 off package holidays. And get up to...
Ladies and gentlemen, well, in this very special episode of Call Chris Eubank, I'm going to be discussing the feeling. I'm going to tell you the stories of how it came together, and obviously...
I shout out to Chris Eubank Sr. I need to see him sit down and have a conversation with T.I. I just want to hear these two have a conversation. I just want to see a conversation. I don't care what it's about. Well, I do kind of care what it's about. But it's like, I want to see them have a conversation. You know what I mean? The words they will be speaking so eloquently and all that stuff. That like, good thing about it, T.I. show is called Expeditiously, yeah? Come on, man. Anyway, let's go.
We're talking about the fight of the century.
What have you been doing the last 48 hours, and how's Junior going now?
Junior went into hospital straight after, so we were in the ambulance.
The fight of the century. All right, yeah, that's right. You could potentially say that. I'm not just saying that because I'm just trying to think. Because I'm like, what about his fight against? You know what I'm saying? Isn't that within the same century? But it's not. It's not. So, but yeah. But you could say this is technically fight of the century. You could.
The sirens, the horns are beeping, chaos. My son Junior is very proud. He's very proud. His face looks like a blown up football, almost twice the size. And he'll never let you see that because he's proud.
Why are you exposing your son like that? Nah. Hey, do you know what that's reminding me of? I don't think you understand yet. Listen. No. I don't think you understand. We're gonna come back to this, yeah. I'm gonna keep on this. I'm gonna keep it here. It's gonna remind where I am, which is 43 seconds in, not even a minute in. I wish you could play. Let me see if we can. I might not have to. Yeah, I don't have to play it. Look. But hey, listen. He actually, Chris Eubank Jr. actually won though, so let's not get that twisted.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, in this very special episode of Call Chris Eubank, I'm going to be discussing the feeling. I'm going to tell you the stories of how it came together. And obviously, we're talking about the fight of the century.
What have you been doing the last 48 hours, and how's Junior going now?
Junior went into hospital straight after, so we were in the ambulance. The sirens, the horns are beeping, chaos. My son Junior is very proud. He's very proud. His face looks like a blown up football, almost twice the size. And he'll never let you see that because he's proud. It just brought me back all those years ago to think about what Michael went through. And I was feeling and seeing and hearing all of that. And I'm saying to myself, people don't know, but my son is touch and go. And the only way we're going to know.
Damn. That left me from laughter to just thoughtfulness. Because if you don't know, he had a fight with Michael Watson, and that left him in a situation that was very unfortunate. Let's put it that way. Damn. Anyways, God, I won't pause too often because of time.
Know whether he's going to be okay is after the CT scans. He suffered mostly in the hospital because of dehydration, even though the beating was severe. And that's why he was in such
discomfort. See, listen. Whoever came up with that specific clause, not only should they be fined, but they need to have their boxing license revoked. I'm not even joking. If it genuinely is I forgot his name, Eddie Earns. I'm thinking of Tommy Earns because of what, yeah. But if it genuinely was Eddie Earns, then his license needs to be revoked. If it's Conor Nigel Benn, or is it Nigel Benn, whoever put that in the contract, they need to have their license revoked. I'm going to keep it as simple as that. Let me know what your thoughts are, because that's dangerous. It's only right that he went to the hospital. Imagine.
Discomfort for 24, 30 hours. You know how many times I welled up? You know how many times I trembled at 35 years old for him to be losing, coming back down to 160? Semi-conscious, and he has been battered, just like his adversary in Conor. He came into the hospital probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and when I looked at him, I did break down. He was on the bed, and his legs were obtusely bent, and he was like this. And I couldn't see whether he was actually...
Did you have a bad dream last night?
Oh, I never remember my dreams. Why?
Don't advertise this thing, ITV, I beg.
Awake. And as I walked closer, and I said, "You okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay. The fight was extraordinary, and I never thought I would see this type of performance from my son. From round 6 to round 12, he stayed in the pocket. In the pocket is where you're standing toe-to-toe. I don't want my son to have to go through that again. He doesn't know that his life was in the balance. Neither does he care. Everyone would have thought, oh, this is all about money. When that fight began, that was nothing to do with money. And it kept on proving that point over and over and over until...
I don't see, this is the thing. If some people thought that fight was about money, they were completely wrong. To me, this fight clearly was about trying to make their fathers proud. That's essentially as it gets. You got Conor Benn, who's trying to make his father proud by seeking vengeance for his family name. You know what I mean? For what happened to his dad. You get me? Like, he lost. Yeah, he lost. And then obviously the other one was a draw. So obviously, you know what I mean? He wanted to seek vengeance. Like, you get me? And as for Chris Eubank Jr., it's the same thing. Not the same thing as seek vengeance, but he wanted to prove to his dad that, yo, I can do this. Like I'm your son. You know what I mean? Like, you name me after you, for goodness sake. Like, what more do you want? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and I say this as well, yeah. I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you, yeah. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. really needed this fight, if I'm honest. Some may say yeah, but I'll say no, even though I wanted this fight, but I didn't know at what expense it was going to cost. I'll be honest, I didn't know there was going to be all this clause in the contract. But if anything, I don't think he needed the fight, but Conor did. And the reason why Conor needed this fight, he needed it mainly, not just because he needed to seek vengeance for his father or anything like that. It's mainly because he needed to prove to the point where, you know, with these boxing promoters and stuff like that, and they want to be, it's like, if you don't put on a performance against a great opponent, you know what I mean? Your value decreases. Even though he lost, his value has increased immensely. That is genuinely thanks to this particular fight. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's keep moving.
The decision, you know, I'm so proud of that boy of mine. And I'm so proud of Conor Benn. And it will echo into eternity. That's what money can't buy.
Facts.
And the way Conor lost, I mean, listen to his words. You're listening to a man who has got code.
The entrance where people saw you for the first time. I saw an interview you said you didn't hear the crown.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip of that?
I saw the clip now, and I can hear the crescendo behind.
Yeah, and then it gets even louder.
Yeah.
When you walk together.
Yeah.
The commentator said that's the moment of the year. Watching that back and in the moment, what's the feeling?
Epic.
I'm welling up now. You know,
Yeah,
a moment of a lifetime. This looks like it's been orchestrated, like there's been a director, a physical director, for the car to pull up where it did.
Because I thought, I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought, this is PR. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole from him calling out Chris Eubank, calling out his son for did Karen do that? Teach you that? Because I didn't teach you that. Like him throwing the egg in Conor Benn's face and stuff like that. So I thought that was not orchestrated, but like I'm sure they must have been talking to each other somehow. Like, I mean, like, he's your dad, isn't it? Like, every chance you got to speak to your dad, speak to him, bruv. That, you know what I mean? Especially with what they went through on a personal level and stuff like that. So I didn't know. Yeah. Again, everyone can speculate. Everyone can make speculations and rumors and accusations, or whatever. But not accusations, but everyone can speculate. But you got to hear it from their own mouth. And if this is what Chris Eubank Jr. is saying, Senior is saying, keep it that way. Don't try to be like, oh, no, but he's wrong. No, this is what he is saying. So believe what he's saying. You know what I mean? Let's go. Like, why would he lie? That's the other thing.
For me to be on the left-hand side of the car and not the right. For me to push the door open, and it got lodged just a little bit, and then it opened. I put one foot down, and there is the world's media, and I chuckled. I was directed spiritually. I'm good, but I'm not that good. That's why it moved the nation and the world. I got in touch with Junior probably 10 minutes past 8 the night before the fight. I haven't been in touch with him. Being there for my son, I was always going to be there. Just not in anybody else's time. The amount of comments, you've got to be there for your son. You've got to be there for your son. You've got to be there for your son. All this time I'm thinking, every time I read it, okay, I'm not even reading that because the fight's not going to happen. And let me be clear on this.
All I want is to take my son surfing. I'm not trying to be cruel.
Until the referee said box, I would have bet my life this fight wouldn't have happened.
What happened in that conversation?
So at 10 past 8 on Friday night.
No. If you are interviewing someone, don't try and derail the question to derail the conversation. Like he was onto something. Like, and because if it was me interviewing him, what I would have said, okay, so what do you mean by that? Like, why did you think that this fight wasn't going to happen? Because you've always said that, you know, you don't agree with this fight because of the dehydration clause or rehydration clause and your son going to a next level, the weight level situation. You don't agree with that. Is that why? And if so, because obviously your experience in boxing, like, if there's anyone that has knowledge in the field of boxing, it is Chris Eubank Sr. He is a national treasure. Like, he is an icon. He is a legend. Like, this ain't even just me just hyping or gassing. I'm just keeping it real with you. Because if someone's got experience in a particular field, right, and they've been in that arena, like literally been in that arena, like multiple times, and knowing what he's experienced, clearly he's onto something. So if he thought the fight wasn't going to happen, why? And then you ask the question, you know what I mean? Because then you keep it free flowing. But
the message said, call me when you're in private, please. Maybe 10 past 10, I got a call back. I can check on my phone what time it was. Now, I haven't spoken to him, and you would have seen and probably felt this in all the interviews and press conferences that he had. You would be able to read that he hasn't been in contact with me. When someone is going the wrong way, you have to watch them go, because the more you try to hold them back, is the harder they pull away from you. Junior called and he said, I didn't want to call, Dad, because I can't hear anything negative. I said to Junior, okay, all right, so
that makes sense. That makes sense. Think about it. If your let's put it this way, if your parent is telling you all this time something negative, and you're now a grown adult, you do not want to hear it. So it's like, I don't want to hear that. Like, not to be rude or anything like that. You don't want to hear nothing negative. But obviously, whatever they're telling you, even though you may think it's negative, they're telling you out of what's good for you. Do you know what I mean? So that's interesting.
Okay, so he explained. So not giving anyone a boost, a park plaza. So how am I going to get in now? In my mind, you have the world's media there. Everyone's hanging around. So how am I going to get in? Okay, so I put on the disguise. The disguise, when he saw me, he said, no one's going to recognize you. You couldn't see me. I had a Issey Miyake coat on, which is down to literally your ankles. I had a hoodie, which is, if you will...
I mean, like Kanye, I can't even lie. Hey, yo, I swear to you, if you didn't know that was Chris Eubank Sr., you wouldn't know. But you would think that's Kanye. I would have thought that was Kanye. I would genuinely think that was Kanye. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But I would have personally thought that was Kanye. Let's go. Like, if I saw that, I'd be like, yo, Kanye. Obviously, if he's trying to hide away, so you can't really kind of walk up to it. But then, would I really want to listen to what he's got to say? Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, let's get a selfie. That's all I want. I don't want to get me. But then he may want a copy of that selfie. And if he wants a copy of that selfie, he may use that and chat a whole load of... Anyway, let me know. Let's go.
The mod coat, the green mod coat, the coat they wore in the 1960s on their mopeds. And then I had a mask that went up. And a cap. The shoes I wore were Primsoles. They were trainers. They're black. And Junior even said, wow, there's no way anyone's going to recognize you looking like that. I'll set it up one day for you to show you. So he had booked me a room. So we went up to the room and we sat and we spoke. Now, these were my words to him. What do you want me to do, son? This is your show. This is your gig. And he said, but lots of things we've got to do this now. Everything's got to be changed now because, we had this set up. We've got an orchestra. We had all these different elements of entertainment. There was a rapper, maybe 4 different types of entertainment.
Rapper? Which rapper? Which rapper? Because, do you know what? In the undercards, Anthony Yard, who was he fighting again? It was the third fight he had with that guy and he beat him again. But like, in the entrance, we had Chip and DEE. Now they're grime MCs. Do you know what I mean? Well, yeah, Chip does rap as well, but he's more or less a grime MC. He released a new album that's grime, anyway. So this is very, very interesting. I want to know who that rapper was. Can you take a guess? Leave your answer in the comments below. Because you've got to remember, Chris Eubank Jr.'s manager is Napa, who also was a grime MC. And obviously he connects to 2 rappers as well. So who would it be? Like, who would it be? Would it be Central C? Nah. It would have to be a UK rapper. Would it be Nems? Maybe. I don't know. It might be Dave. It might have been Dave. It might have been Dave. It might have been Dave. I think it was Dave. I think it was Dave. I think it was Dave. So it could be Stormzy, but he's like, I'm not gonna say that Chip. Don't get that twisted, because he couldn't even, respond back to Chip properly. But like, as far as a rapper, you could consider him as a rapper, but also a grime MC as well. But who is it? Leave your answer in the comment section below. Let me know who you think it was.
All were to substitute for me not being there. So when I came in, everything else went. The only thing that actually stayed was the orchestra. Now, this is probably one of the most private things I can tell you.
Performing on the biggest stage in the world was just one step in my journey. Hi, I'm Ronnie, and I teach people all over the world how to dance with their dogs on my website.
Because it's the truth. You have to understand the magnitude of this. Junior is not an emotional human being. He's not emotional. I mean, I'm talking about at all. Now, you'd say, well, yeah, come on, within reason. No. He sent me a message, and I can show you, Mike, afterwards. He sent me a message. The message said...
I've said this, yeah. I'm not saying I didn't know he was not emotional, but I said this. In the press conference with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., I said, Conor Benn looks more emotional, do you know what I mean, and erratic and nervous and all that stuff there. Chris Eubank Jr., on the other hand, looks more calm and composed. But and obviously he's saying, yeah, come on, in terms of look how he turned out. I mean, look who he has an example as a father. Do you know what I mean? So naturally, you're going to look up to your father, innit? Just like, if you see that's your example of a man, like, and your son, yeah, and you're looking up, that's your first example. So naturally, you're going to try and be, not try to be, but you know what I mean? It's obviously within your DNA, but there's some things you would do and say and react in a similar way. That's just how it goes. But anyway, as we were.
Glad you are here. That's like the moon coming to Earth, coming to within a mile of the Earth. Yeah. It does not happen. He doesn't do that. So what looks innocuous, if you will, to the eye that doesn't understand.
Wait, I don't understand that.
That's a huge thing. He sent me a message, and I can show you, Mike, afterwards. He sent me a message. The message said, glad you are here. That's like the moon coming to Earth, coming to within a mile of the Earth. It does not happen. He doesn't do that. So what looks innocuous, if you will, to the eye that doesn't understand, that's a huge thing, huge. I'm glad you're here. What's so wonderful for his future is that it's going to come when he puts the gloves down. Which brings me to this point. I must tell you this.
Okay.
If he were to retire right now, he would have a richness that money can't buy. He would have the position of prince for life. You won the hearts of the people, Junior. You won my heart, Rastafari.
Entrance, it was iconic.
Listen, it's the fact that he said Rastafari just then, but obviously he said it at the after he won it. But I mean, he's right. He did win the people's hearts as well, because I'll be real with you. I remember every fight that he would do, or even just that, but the ones that you could consider major fights, right? Even if he wins them, he's like hated, and I never understood it. Like I still don't understand why, but I feel like that fight gained respect from others, and also same thing with Conor Benn. Like he got my respect. Not that they care for my respect or anything like that, but like it got like this got me thinking like, right, these guys are, you know what I mean? Like Conor Benn is really the destroyer, like his dad. Even though he lost, like you can see that he's got potential there. Like I'll put it there, he's got potential. You know what I mean? But again, it's not always about being vicious and aggressive from early. It's about the impact you make when you are a boxer. The impact is about the amount of punches that land in the right places. That is the key. You know what I mean? You don't like. Obviously, it'd be nice to see knockouts, but at the end of the day, if we can do without knockouts, you want the one that lands the most punches basically wins within each round. And sometimes fast and aggressive, you may think they're landing punches, but most times, not necessarily. Now, in a street fight, it would be different. That's a brawl. A brawl is completely different to a boxing match. Keeping it that way, keep it simple. Hit the subscribe button. Let's go.
Iconic, almost as iconic as you getting out of the car and walking with you. The whole thing was amazing.
Thank you, Lord. Praise the Lord.
There was a clip of you speaking to how you organised Simply the Best.
Simply the Best is in the hearts of the people. This particular tune, all it represents in the bass, in the voice. I explained, get the bass heavy on this. In truth, it wasn't heavy enough, but that's okay. I just happen to love this record because I feel it. And I said to Junior, do you know what I want for being here with you? This is after some years of actually having a one-to-one face-to-face. One eye looked up there, one eye went there. It's like, well, I don't know. What do you want? I want nothing, I said, nothing. I have everything I want. You could do for me one thing, which is to play this particular record. And I got it up on YouTube and I said, that's what I want.
In terms of what you were wearing and the decision making behind that.
All right, so now it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, if he's coming out to, like, think about it. If Anthony Yard came out to Chip and DEE for Grand Team Savior, for do you know what I mean? It's so interesting that Chris Eubank Jr. had a rapper booked, and it's so interesting that it's just literally got me thinking, who would that be now? Now I'm thinking that rapper's Stormzy. At first I'm thinking it's Dave. Don't get me twisted. It could potentially be Dave. Hey, wait, it could have been Rich 3 too, by the way, because he's from those ends. So naturally he would have, you know what I mean? And he's got new music coming up as well with, ironically, Gets. And then, anyway, let's keep moving. But so I'm looking at it from that perspective, yeah? So I was thinking, was it his choice? Now it's got me thinking, whose choice was it to play the song Entrance for Conor Benn? Was it Nigel who did that? Maybe. And that's good to see, that the collaboration between father and son. That's great to see. And the fact that he's mentioning it is important. Listen to your fathers.
Yes.
Can you explain that? It feels fitting to tell people about that.
The Vivienne Westwood that I was wearing, which she gave to me personally for catwalking for her in Milan back in about 1998, 1999. That's a very special coat, not just because of who gave it to me, how it was given to me, why it was given to me, the fact that she said, no, I can't give it to you, it's my husband's, and then surprised me when I was leaving, gave it to me on leaving Milan. If you go back to the late 1800s, you'll find that it was the czars or the kings who wore this type of garment. So is it an accident?
I know what he's trying to say.
Plan your stay at
Hey, he's trying to
Marriott.com.
say, I'm still king here, and my son is a...
Hi, my name's Tracy.
That I happen to be wearing a king's cloak, Rastafari.
It was an absolute war.
There you go again.
And you and Nigel are the only people watching that as fathers. How was that experience from your perspective as a father?
I was told beforehand that I was to sit next to Turkey al-Sheikh. So when I went to take my seat, there was a young man sitting in my seat. And I said to whoever it was I was speaking to, well, there's someone in my seat. And he said,
Wait,
well,
someone's wearing
it
a
was
hat from Morocco.
Ali. He said, well, I'm sorry, a young prince has come and
Nigels. Someone was wearing a Moroccan hat.
A king's cloak.
A Moroccan flag hat.
Rastafari.
It was an absolute war, and you and Nigel are the only people watching that as fathers. How was that experience from your perspective as a father?
I was told beforehand that I was to sit next to Turkey al-Sheikh. So when I went to take my seat, there was a young man sitting in my seat. And I said to whoever it was I was speaking to, well, there's someone in my seat. And he said, well, it was Ali. He said, well, I'm sorry, a young prince has come and the prince is now sitting there. And I said, the prince is sitting in the king's seat? I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. He said, well, I'm sorry. I said, it's okay, no problem. So at that juncture, at that point, I'm right next to Nigel's corner, effectively. So I keep on walking around, and then there's a seat sitting right next to Nigel with a monitor, a TV monitor. I was like, okay, well, I'll sit here. But this is the corner of Conor. This is not Junior's corner. And I sat there for 4 rounds, hearing all of the, gotta beat this Eubank, you gotta... I spoke to Nigel probably twice in this time. So I leant over and I said, hey, Nigel, you know, you can see my son's, you can see the size difference, huh? He said, yeah, don't worry about that, mate. That's all right. The size doesn't matter.
Hey, yo, I like this interaction. Hey, fathers, because obviously, if you don't know the history, this is for those that don't know the history, but I'm pretty sure you do know the history. For those that don't know, they fought before in the 90s. Chris Eubank Sr. won once, you know what I mean? Then the second time they fought, it was a draw. And then now their sons are fighting, and Chris Eubank Jr. won. So, yeah, it's interesting now. Let's go.
I said, okay, all right. Another point I said, hey, you can see in my son's, you know, the jabs in your son's face. You know, he's ahead. He's got the jab in his face. He said, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it, mate. It's all right, mate. Yeah, it'll come through. It's all... Yeah. Come on, son. That's him. So we had a little back and forth. I guess he didn't want to engage, but we engaged. So after 4 rounds, I got up and I went around to my son's corner. I'm so happy I did. In the last round, I was shouting, Rastafari, lick him up, Rastafari, lick him up.
Hey, this is why, yeah. I say this is why because I wasn't there physically to hear him say it. But like, when I made that post, that Twitter post, and I said Jamaica 2, Barbados 0, that was like, it was tongue in cheek, yeah. At the same, no, did he? But like, at the same time, it makes more sense now because he's saying it like he's like full blown Jamaican, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what's so funny. And obviously, you know anything about Nigel Benn, and they're from Barbados. That's why. But it's just the fact that it's like, Rastafari, lick him. Listen, that is so funny. That is so funny.
You can see in my son's, you know, the jabs in your son's face. You know, he's ahead. He's ahead. He's got the jab in his face. He said, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it, mate. It's all right, mate. Yeah, it'll come through. It's all... Yeah. Come on, son. That's him. So we had a little back and forth. I guess he didn't want to engage, but we engaged. So after 4 rounds, I got up and I went around to my son's corner. I'm so happy I did. In the last round, I was shouting, Rastafari, lick him up, Rastafari, lick him up, lick him. No, got it. I got into the feeling. I'm so grateful to my son, Christopher Livingston Eubank, Prince. I'm so grateful for your tenacity.
He called out his full name, Brad. But this time he's not in trouble. Because you know when parents call out your full name, oh, you're in trouble. Rastafari, lick him up, lick him up. All right, that's funny. I did clock something. All right, doesn't matter. Let's go.
Tenacity, for your strength of character, for your single-mindedness. You know, every dad, you know, has to go through this rite of passage where the son is actually saying, I'm going to do it my way. Okay, and every father reacts the same. So, you know, I wasn't going to lie down while you forced yourself to go into a direction that I didn't think was safe. And it wasn't safe. I was in an ambulance with you, young man. You're my son. You can't explain it. I love you. I'll always be here for you.
It was a fascinating battle. What did you say?
To answer your question, you obviously think that I've had time to watch the fight. You know, I've been sitting in a hospital room, sleeping in this position for 2 nights. So last night I had to, from London, go to Brighton. I got there at from about 10, got there about 12 o'clock, tried to sleep because I had to come back up here in order to actually do this podcast. No, I've had no time to watch the fight, but I know what I felt. And when you feel it, it means it's a hit. My recollection is that from round 6, he's going toe to toe. So it's a battle of will. In those last 2 rounds, what they refer to as the championship rounds, I didn't know he could get through that. You know, I know his age. I know about the dehydration. I know he's doing what is not possible. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing left in you except the will which says, hold on. Rudyard Kipling's If. Again, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Look at the commotion. What happened in the fight? If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too. Mr. Eubank, you've got to be at the fight. You've got to be at the fight. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hate. Don't look too good, nor talk too wise. Sorry about that. The wisdom is...
No, I like to drop the wisdom. I can't even lie still. I rate you for that.
You had a conversation with Turkey before you showed up, Turkey Al Sheikh. Is there any truth to that at all, or are they just saying that?
God bless him, because he...
Look, I know you're upset, and I know that you're scared, but I'm trying to hear. You running away is literally the worst thing that you...
when I went to see him, I don't know, it must have been about a month ago, he asked me, you know, to support my son. And I said, the fight's not going to happen. So everyone actually saying to me, you know, you got to support your son. I said, why would I support something when it's not going to happen?
Yeah.
And as I said to you earlier, up until the referee said box, I would have bet everything that I have that it wouldn't happen.
What are your thoughts on a rematch? Someone suggested, I listened to that could happen in September. What do you think?
What I think is that I must remember what happened. I saw my son in a touch or go situation. Touch or go. Life or death. He doesn't respect it because he's a warrior. And a warrior goes out on his shield, which he proved. He's not going to listen to the rules. If he can actually evade the rules, if he can somehow sidestep the rules, he will, because he's a warrior. It would be an extraordinary blessing for him if he is wise enough to make the decision to walk off in the sunset. You see, nothing's cooler than that. That you can't buy. And when I say that, I mean there are billionaires who would pay everything to have what you now have. It cannot be bought. It has to be earned. Members say, I'm tell you. Okay.
There's an interview with Conor, I don't know if you've seen it, where he says at the end of the fight, there was you and him had some words, and he said, I'm so glad you're here. Did you say anything back to him?
I said to Conor, I was always going to be here. He's my son. I saw the purity of him that has always had me speak of him in a positive way.
Yeah.
He's in a very difficult position.
He has.
So, the symptoms that he may be portraying to me, don't take it to heart. If he says he doesn't like you or he doesn't respect you, he doesn't really mean it. He's talking, it's hot air. And everybody who's met Conor knows this. You can't get a sweeter young man than this. He's doing it to wind you up. In actual fact, he's your brother.
He's violating, Nah, wait for a minute, yeah? I respect what Chris Eubank Sr. is saying, but this is violation because he's letting you know that Conor Nigel Benn has put on a front. And it makes sense to why he would put on a front, because he was seeking vengeance for his father. Duh. Do you know what I mean? That's genuine. I think that's genuine. I don't think he has pure hatred for Chris Eubank Jr. I just think he sees it as, listen, I need to seek vengeance for my dad. Yeah? Seeing him lose like that, nah. I've got to seek vengeance. But at the same time, should there be a rematch? No. I don't think there should be a rematch, especially because he mentioned it was a touch and go situation. But if you have to go down a weight class or go up a weight class and you have to do these rehydration clauses, forget it. If they are literally genuinely the same weight class, like genuine, go ahead. You know what I mean? No rehydration clauses, no other clauses other than just, you know what I mean? But other than that, I genuinely don't want to see a rematch, if I'm honest. Because then it just becomes a thing of, it looks better for Chris Eubank Jr. rather than Conor Benn's career. It looks better because for Conor Benn, it would look like that's all he's going to really be known as. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest fight of his career. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least with Chris Eubank Jr., we can say, oh, he's fought Billy Joe Saunders or whatever his name is. He's fought like Liam Beef. I didn't want to say that name. That's so wild. Liam Smith. He's fought so many different names. Get me? He's in contention to fight Canelo. Do you know what I mean? So when you think about it, his names are attached to other boxers that you are familiarized yourself. Not to dismiss the boxers that Conor has fought previously, but let's be all over 100. There's some fighters that you don't even remember who they are. You know what I'm saying? So I think it would be wise for a rematch not to happen. Yeah, not because I'm happy that Chris Eubank Jr. won. I'm just saying it for the perspective of a career. Yeah, I want to see Conor Benn. Do you know what I mean? I want to see him winning life in it, like winning his career. But let's keep it moving because I'm looking at time like, yo.
Your brother, it's the game. If you play the game, you can win. If you don't play the game, it's not going to age well.
It looked like you said something to Nigel as well. I think you gave him a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not playing the game of ignorance. I told Nigel, I'm your brother. We've been doing this for eons. I will always win because I'll always choose the side of the spirit. The rest.
I wanted to ask you if there's like a moment with Junior on the way out where you can feel the presence of Seb, or if there's moments that you remember where they're there. If you don't want to answer that, that's fine, but I just want to...
I've got the truth. Junior is lying down on this stretcher bed. He's light sensitive, so he has a towel always over his eyes. In the ambulance, put something over my eyes. I had a little hat, and I put the hat. When he was laying down in the hospital bed, he had this shroud here, the same beard of Sebastian, the same beard. And do you remember I said his face was swollen? But from the position he was sitting, he looked precisely and exactly like Sebastian. And I'm talking about spitting image. Even now, I've got the
Kills, yeah. Keep it together, fam. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
It's real for us. It's real. It's real for you too. But can you see? Can you believe your own eyes? Okay.
Give it to me 1 time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it, 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 give it. No, 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 no.
That's enough of that. All right. Let me know what your thoughts are on this as well. Look at that number with retraining, of course. Anyway, let's see what the comments are saying. Eric, Chris Eubank getting out of the car was one of the best moments of the boxing history. Personally, I don't want to see a rematch. See, every hold up. Every rematch, I don't want to see a match. Every great movie doesn't need a sequel. This was absolutely perfect. When you look at the whole story, it's hard to put into words, and at the same time, it's simply the best. Pun intended. So cards are opening. The magical smile, the roar, the crowd, the simply the best. Holding Junior's coat like he was making sure he didn't trip. Moving to Still Dre, hugging the Benns. Tenacity, legendary, Rastafari, Senior owned the entire night. The build-up, pre-fight, fight post, fight needs a movie. This, yeah. That's gonna lead me to write this comment. Thank you for that. This was literally a movie, and they need a docu-series movie from the start, because this is very iconic, and in all honesty, there should be no rematch. Health is important, despite them both being warriors, and it is great that Senior captured this woman, and great that the lads followed in their father's footsteps. All right, I was going to react to the Rastafari documentary, but that could be another stream, most probably tomorrow. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. But yeah, man. Until next time.